Uh, it is going to be recorded, right? I have to be here. I have to be here. Okay. You know, let me see. It has been for about 10 years that Bitcoin and Bitcoin blockchain has been appeared in human history. So what I'm going to do is that I want to explain what happened, what we have done for the past 10 years, and what was the challenges we had for the past 10 years, and what are the problems we have with the technology and and industry in general. So that is what we are going to do. First thing that you have to remember is that this is going to be the basis of understanding that we are going to discuss later on. Um, Cryptocurrency, Bitcoin was initially invented right after financial crisis 2008, right? So 2008 financial crisis actually caused or you know caused the invention of Bitcoin blockchain. And after that, Bitcoin blockchain was widely accepted because by that time, financial crisis was historic moment because the financial systems and monetary system was not working for ordinary people found, but it was only for the rich people. However, when it failed, just like 2008, the problem was, the suffering all, came to the ordinary people. So you have to remember, first of all, 1% of the world population owns 46% of the wealth of the world. I have to repeat, 1% of the world, of the population owns 46% of the wealth in the world. That's where the Bitcoin and Bitcoin blockchain has begun, right? So that is a beginning of understanding, beginning of discussion we're going to have for this session. Why this has, why this and that has had to be happen. So before I go that, hold on. Hmm? Is this not the one? What is the button that I have to press? The button doesn't go. This doesn't go to the next screen. Sorry, I have to use this one. You will stand here and okay. Oh, hold on. Let me see. I think it's not right. So before I say anything about about this, I will introduce myself. I was a professor for a while, and I quit the job. Professorship is not something that I wanted to do. I accidentally become professor. I called myself accidental professor because I never wanted to be a professor, but ended up being a professor. And Professor Dan was in my class, and he was one. I can tell Professor Dan was one of the most exciting students and most brilliant students in my class. I was a professor, and I was because of that I was invited to be a lecturer in University of Hamburg last year, giving a lecture to European students, and recorded my lecture in Germany. So that is, if you go to University of Hamburg HAW site, you will see my online courses I have to say though, don't go to that class, don't go to that website, and don't see my recordings there because I do terrible job. It is not because me that was terrible, but the system was terrible. The screen was bad and all that. I was not able to see my lecturers, uh, you know, slides, and because of that, I had to, you know, see it on my screen down there on the table. So I was keep looking at my slides down on the table, and because of that, I had my lecture is terrible. But anyway, I was invited lecturer in the University of Hamburg. Also, I was an invited speaker, keynote speaker in the Davos Forum this year. And do you know that we this year in the Davos Forum, 1,500 jet airplanes, flown into that Davos? Do you know that? 1,500 of them. There are so many people with the money and a little bit of time. So that is why they moved in with a private jet, right? So 1,500 people there. So I was there, and I happened to found a blockchain community group in W3C, and I happened to be convener. I was a convener of ISO blockchain committee um, identity identities group. I was the convener of it. So I was my name is kinda known internationally. So that's so much about my own introduction. Go to the one next one. Next one. So before I talk about blockchain, do you trust it? Do you trust Mr. Trump saying, "I fell in love with this guy"? Huh? Do you trust him? He said, "We fell in love." Why? I don't know what you mean. What he meant to say we. Apparently, he was not in love with that guy Kim Jong Un, and Kim Jong Un was no way that he's in love with Trump. And in return, Mr. Kim also said, "I have a faith in Donald Trump." Do you trust him with his face going angry in his screen? Do you see this guy? God, trust. Recent meeting. They before the meeting, right? Yeah. Why? Do you think they were in love and they were in the process of breaking up? So they were in love. Once again, I want to have fun here. I want to have exciting, interaction. So you're welcome to give me responses and everything. Yes, go ahead. So you don't think they are in love? Huh? Yeah. You know what? I brought this photo because hey, we are talking about trust issues. Right? Blockchain is all about trust issue here. How could you trust people? How could you trust people eh, to make a transactions in online? On the cyberspace. How can you have the people? How can send the money the other side of the cyberspace you do not know of, right? So that is a basic issue that we began to have with the cyberspace, right? Now, having said that, we know that banking systems and monetary system has failed, that we experience the failure of those systems. Now we want to have trust to be done in the cyberspace to make a transaction without having the third party or banking systems or monetary systems be involved with it, without them being involved with it, right? So how can we do it? That's the whole thing we began with, right? Trust. Trust. These people have met in the offline that there's no way they trust each other, right? And yet in the cyberspace, in the darkness, you are sending money. In the darkness, you are doing trading, right? That's the basic idea that we wanted to have. Let's go to the next one. So what I'm going to explain is problems we have experienced for the past 10 years. Bitcoin has first Genesis block has created January 3rd of 2009. So 2019 is the 10th year that first Genesis block was created. So it is people celebrated 10-year Bitcoin Genesis block. So it has been 10 years. I want to explain what has been done, what was challenges, problem, and what was the issue, what were the issues that we experienced. Then I will go on to explain remaining problems. What are the issues? Go to the next. Before we go on, I want to explain this. Bitcoin lovers, do you know? Are you Bitcoin lovers? Ethereum lovers? We don't have lovers here. Yeah, lovers here. Dr. Rubini, he said he was giving testimony before the Senate Committee of the USA, U.S. Senate Committee hearing, and he said, this is mother and father of all the scams and bubbles. This is the overhyped technology ever. Do you trust him? Is it the Bitcoin blockchain is the mother and father of all the scams and bubbles? Ethereum? What do you think? Come on, we have to interact with each other. Come on, you guys. Yeah, go ahead. Just cryptocurrency in general. Or do you think they are scams? That's a good answer. How about the Bitcoin lover? Do you think Bitcoin is a scam? Bitcoin is a scam? Come on, you guys, come close here, and so that I can interact with you guys. It's a scam. He's a New York University professor, NYU professor. Very famous guy. And I don't know who's doing the research on blockchain. Come on, those guys who's doing blockchain. You said you were doing blockchain research on blockchain. It's a scam. Now I have to, if it is a scam, you are studying scams here, scam technology here. What do you say? We have to have a clear understanding if it is a scam or not. This guy is a famous university professor and renowned, and he says it is a scam. Do you have any arguments against it? That's what I'm asking you. And we have to begin understanding what he's talking about. It's a scam. Oh no, dude. Before the U.S. Senate committee hearing, come on, he is not paid to say. No, I don't think so. And the other is what? You said two. One thing that we have to remember, this guy is a professor. He doesn't really say stupid things without having foundation, logical foundation supporting him, right? So we have to understand him, right? It is not, he's just guy in the street. Last night I had a hunch and I decide this is a scam. He doesn't say that, right? Of course, last night I had a life-threatening crisis because I got mosquito bite here, and it was mosquito was so much in love with me. It bites me in my lip. I kissed to my to a mosquito. Our mosquito kissed me, and because of that I had this extramarital affairs here. Sorry, it was joke. Sorry, it was joke. And anyway, once again, this guy has a reason to it. We have to understand it. Basically, he's an economist. You see, he's an economist. What he's saying, as an economist, something is flawed here. And with his reasoning, understanding his reasoning, I am with him. I am with him that the cryptocurrencies invented, most of them are scams and bubbles. And perhaps we have to admit the fact that blockchain technology is overhyped technology ever. He has we are going to discuss all the details today if time permits. I have only 1 hour. I feel like I feel like I'm doing that like 3 hour lecture kind of thing. I will go a little faster. Let's go to the one. Another one is another one very good. That is another blockchain pessimist guy. It is a paper. This guy, Dr. Courtois, wrote a paper saying this one cryptocurrencies are programmed self-destruction. This paper title of the paper is kind of wrong. It doesn't capture the idea here. He said on the longest chain rule, the cryptocurrency is using longest chain rule. All of them are using longest chain rule. And the cryptocurrency is using longest chain rule. They are programmed self-destructive. Let me repeat one more time. Programmed self-destructive. What does that mean? It is going to be self-destructive. Not only self-destructive, it is programmed that way. Scary, isn't it? We're going to explain a little further about it. But then again, I don't want to have this be so serious. You guys, come on. Let's have fun. Let's go to the next one. Why is programmed self-destruction? You will have to get to the issue here. This guy, Dr. Rubini of New York University, he was an economist. This guy is a technology guy, computer science guy. Dr. Rubini was saying it was a scam. From the economist point of view, they are scams. It is a scam. This one, this guy, Dr. Courtois, is saying from technological point of view, it is programmed self-destruction. So we are going into all the details. Let's go to the next one. So that reason being self-destructive is technical problems and as well as ignorance. I'm going to get into all the details. Problems now, from having said having said those issues that uh, crypto pessimists that is currently existing, we are going to explain. I'm going to explain what we mean, what we have done for the past 10 years. Okay, let's go to the one. Go to the next one. We for the past 10 years we have seen cryptography, computer science, political science has been used to challenge the problem. The first one is, go to the next one. First one is cryptography. What I said to begin with. We are making transactions in the cyberspace without having third party involved, right? We said that. Now, how would make a transaction in the cyberspace when there are cheaters? So, simplified version of making transactions when there are cheaters is the problem called Byzantine generals problem. Byzantine generals problem, a simple way to explain that. Hey, there are cheaters. How could you make transactions in the darkness? You don't know the other people. Well, even if you know the other people's face and everything, you don't trust the other people, the counterparties of yours. Now, what we are having is that, hey, come on, it is a cyberspace in the darkness without having no third party, no monetary system, no monetary institutions, and no banking institutions involved in between. How could you solve that? This Mr. Sakamoto's solution was, let's use cryptography instead of trust. So he was saying, I will trust you. Trust is now quote unquote trust you. I will trust you if you can provide cryptographic proof. If I'll say A, and you give me cryptographic, proof of cryptographic a sign of A that matches A. Excuse me. That matches A of what I say. If you provide cryptographic proof that you are a genuine person, then I will believe you. That's how that Satoshi Nakamoto provided to us. So to begin with, Bitcoin was mostly about cryptography, right? So because of that cryptography, we were able to send transactions, make a transaction, and make a trade in the cyberspace. Now, the problem is, that is Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is still useless. Is the Bitcoin useful? No, it is. You just put the money in and pray for money to go up, right? That's all it does. It is not used for the transactions that begin with. Satoshi Nakamoto's vision was to be used for to making transactions, trading without third party involved. His paper title was e-payment system, right? Electronic payment system, right? So, but that was a vision that was not working. Why was it not working? A young guy, 19-year-old young person, Mr. Buterin, found that, hey, making a transaction is not everything. What you have to validate, trading, actually you require to have features to make a promise. So when you send the transaction, when you send the money at the other side, you have to have a promise. The other person, the counterparty, will send commodity back, right? send the money out and send the commodity back, that's a promise you have to have. You have to behave. And the system automatically executes that, right? So that's a way of making a contract, right? Promises is a way of making transaction, making a contract, right? We say we even if we do that offline, we in the coffee shop we pay money for the coffee and you get the coffee. That's traditionally already implicit contract is there, right? And promise is there. Now this Buterin, Mr. Buterin, he found that hey, make a contract. We have to have something programmable part is needed, and he made a smart contract part done. The problem was he was so he was you know and he was extremely ambitious and trying to capture every contract into program code, right? So to make every contract into program code, how can you do it? That's almost impossible. If you're a legal person, you know how complicated a contract can be, right? Then what do? He was hoping that providing Turing completeness in his system, he thought perhaps that could be enough. Um, who does not know what Turing completeness is? Who knows of Turing completeness? Huh? Say it again. Turing completeness. Let's go to the next. I'm talking this part. We did not say decentralization here. Let's mention this decentralization a little bit. Decentralization, you have to come a little closer because screen is so small, you cannot read it. You have to read the screen to understand what I'm saying. Decentralization, actually, I have to point out, decentralization, Satoshi Nakamoto wanted to have, many people forget about it, wanted to have was the financial decentralization, not the network decentralization. People don't get it. People don't get what decentralization is so important here. So decentralization, we're going to come back later on. Decentralization of financial wealth distribution was the one. Financial wealth distribution to the ordinary people was the one Satoshi Nakamoto wanted to have. Because, from the 2008 financial crisis, the monetary system and financial systems, banking systems, they failed. And they sacrificed the ordinary people. That is what, decentralization is so important here. And yes. Oh yeah, there are many people talking about anarchism of this thing, but we are not going over that part. But we are going to say, yeah, still we're not going to being overthrow the overthrow the national power anything. We are only talking about this financial system that has failed, only serving for the rich people. That's a basic philosophy where we are going to see in this. So that's the decentralization I wanted to point out. Now, Turing completeness here, computer science was involved here because Buterin for Mr. Buterin, he wanted to bring this computer science theory in it to make Turing completeness, to make this all the contract to be done by program code. And his motto was, code is law. But of course, code is not law. Code will never law because government has to be involved with it, right? So that's the thing. Then what happened later on? We with that Ethereum was, I said Bitcoin was useless, right? I'll repeat, Bitcoin was useless and is useless. And Ethereum created by, built by Buterin, is still, project has not done yet. But, Ethereum is still useless. We have to admit it. Useless. Why? Because it cannot be used for, cup of coffee. You see? Then how can we do it? How can we get, you want to buy a cup of coffee in daily use for your daily activity. That's called the scalability issue, right? How can you scale up to the number of people to use in daily life? That's a scalability issue. Now, to do that, another guy, Mr. Larimer guy, Dan Larimer, he said, we are having trouble because it is P2P, peer-to-peer network. In the P2P network, peer-to-peer network, the problem of Ethereum is sending one transaction, one block from, one location the other side of the world, averagely takes 14 seconds. 1 megabyte of block that sent to the other side of globe. You have to send it out, right? To remit it to P2P. You know what P2P is? You send one computer to another, and the computer to another. You go on and on and on, right? Averagely 14 seconds. Meaning sometimes it takes 30 seconds if you get caught by some strange network or same strange network and all that. And because of that, still Ethereum is block generation time for Ethereum is 14 seconds. Now average is 14 seconds. You take you block generate every 14 seconds. What is the problem? Fork happens every hour, almost every time, right? It is, fork of your blocks can happen. Because of that, Buterin introduces uncle blocks and, grand uncle blocks and all those strange concepts. Because fork happens, that has to be handled. He wanted to have that to be handled the fastest time, that is 14 seconds, right? The thing is, Dan Larimer guy, that's the problem. Let's forget that P2P. Let's make that block producers miners. When we are using miners in the concept of POW, POS going away from POW, we began using block producers, word block producers. Now, you reduce the number of block producers and centralize it. You can solve, scalability issue. So Dan Larimer, out of nowhere, he chose the number 21, and he decided to have Delegate of a P2P network, Delegate being 21. So that was what happened was that after that, more governance issues are happening. 21 is ruling the entire network. And actually, 21 are the block producers get all the incentives, block producing incentives. 21 of them. Is it fair? That's fairness is one thing, but it is more centralized. All the powers are, getting into 21 people. Is it the same that we began with the decentralization? you're losing the concept or philosophy of decentralization. So that's what we have experienced for the past 10 years. Let's go to the next one. I think I I don't know how much time we have. 43 seconds, 43 minutes already. Let's go to so political science. I discussed the political science. Political science of governance issues. How we can make a parliament out of this, and how can I control the network? What became issue here? Parliament and parliament of parliament. We have to have that kind of governance issues. I mean, we begin to have that political issue of governance here. So political science is involved. So Dan Larimer is more involved with that and discussion of political governance issues so much. Let's go to the next. And then what happened was this is the one. You know, you can do POW. You know what all the problems of POW mining issues and all that. So you could try to go away from POW to POS. POS was not working very well, and because of that, you begin choose only 21 delegates with that delegated POS. So the ones you know about, DPO using DPOS are Cardano and EOS and all those things. They're using DPOS. Only use 21 block producers. Now, block producers are serious network operators, and they put tons of money in to begin with, and because of that, they cannot be replaced. Delegates, the basic concept to begin with, delegates are elected. Anytime you can elect a new ones anytime. The fact is that no delegate has been replaced for the past several years. No one got ousted from being delegate. So 21 is the one they are making money. For what are the people participating? They make no money. That's the issue here. Let's go to the next one. So this is so far we have experienced. The next one is Let's go to the remaining problem. What we are experiencing at the moment is the technical issues that Dr. Koto was saying. Dr. Koto outlined all the problems, all the hacking methodology that is possible, and they are happening, so easily happening. So don't ever say the POW is immutable. No, it is not. When they are hacked, when they are attacked, they are not immutable. Don't say they are transparent. No, they are not. Because you have to think about this. Blockchain, Bitcoin blockchain is the first one that was invented ever in human history. To have analogous, example is the first automobile we have ever seen. First automobile was invented in the 1760s. A guy named Quino. At that time, animal pulled carts was the one used the same concept. Because of that first automobile that was ever invented, it did not understand many parts of the automobile we have. Simply, there was no concept that is needed for an automobile. For example, brake. If you have a car doesn't have a brake, that's ridiculous, right? Guys, we are being too serious. Come on. Anyway, if you have a car without a brake, what is going to happen? If you see downhill, you will get killed, right? Car accident will happen. Dr. Koto, Quinios. In this, there are too many doctors. I always say there are more doctors than average people. No. Another funny thing is, do you blog? I think there are more bloggers than readers. You have to get somehow try to get readers as much as possible. I don't, come on, you guys. This is supposedly a joke. Anyway, it is not Dr. Courtois, but it is Mr. Quino. He did not have the brake for his car, the first automobile. And so in his first experiment, he saw the downhill, and his first invention was done. And guess what? He was jailed for that. It is a sad story, but it is historically true. He did not have the brake. But think about it. There was no brake is needed for animal pulled cart. What do you have to do? What you have to do is that you just woo woo woo. By pulling the cord, animals will stop, right? But hey, if you have a car doesn't listen to you, woo woo woo, right? Right? Then you will get into jail. Same thing. Bitcoin was invented the first time. They did not have much. Did not have a brake. So there are so many things can happen. That's what Dr. Courtois, programmed self-destruction was about. Being done, all the hackings and all the, things done. Double spending attack, that is impossible. Come on. There are some, professors, some some instructors, ignorant instructors saying this is going to be, so good, and this is immutable, and it is transparent, it is, history making, and it is revolutionary, and I agree with them, but not at the moment, not with the blockchain, Bitcoin blockchain. You see, so that's what Dr. Courtois was outlining in his 89-page long, paper. If you have fun, if you have time, just read it through. And I wasted my time. But anyway, he was saying it is so many problems, and so many problems are actually happening in this. There's reason to it. Hashing power is the issue. Hashing power is rentable in this day. You rent hashing power and go 51% attack, and you can own some money. The only thing your coin, if you have coin in your wallet, your coin is not being hacked because it is your coin in your wallet is useless. It is the value is close to dirt. Trust me. Anyway, so that's next one. So those problems are not treated. It is going to be self-destructive. They are the problems. Now that's why he was saying there are the scams. I see that's going to be happen. That's Dr. Rubini is saying. Go to the next. Now, with the remaining problems, we have to begin discussing the problems one by one. If I have enough time. So the problem here is that the real problem we see with the cryptocurrencies designed so far, blockchain platforms designed so far, the biggest issue you have to remember, biggest issue is Gini coefficient, the wealth distribution we are talking about. We'll discuss a little more to it. Bitcoin's Gini coefficient is 0.99. 0.99. If if you are an economist, you will immediately see how serious that problem is. But we'll go to the next one and we'll discuss later on this. Let's go to the next. So Gini coefficient being 0.99 or higher, close to 1, it is total inequality is provided. And now we did not. It is. Is it a problem? Yeah, it is a problem because when you have we have 100 people labored for some sort of a revenue generation. $100 was earned by 100 people. Supposedly, $100 that were earned went to only one person, and 99 people had nothing with it. It is Gini coefficient saying being 1, total inequality. Now, having one out of 100 people, the one person got $99, and the other 99% shared with $1. That's 0.99. That's how serious that is. That was the case of Bitcoin up to 2013, and I don't think that didn't change much. But the thing is now with Ethereum, is Ethereum any better with the Gini coefficient? No. Gini coefficient for Ethereum is, I'm sure, I have never measured the Ethereum part, but it is 0.999 for sure. Now, how about EOS using DPoS? DPoS is 0.99999. You think about it, only 21% gets all the revenue, all the wealth. And rest of the, about probably millions of people have to buy their coins from 21 people. It is 0.29999, close to 1. The problem you have to see, the later invented that was, the higher Gini coefficient is. Wrong. I saying wrong. That's, Satoshi Nakamoto began with the decentralization of the wealth. He did not have that. I mean, those systems, he did not have that in his Bitcoin system. Now, nothing happens after that. Even gets worse and worse because designers, those guys, are based on their greed. They are trying to get all this greedness fulfilled for their own, not for the other people. That is wrong. That's why Dr. Rubini was saying, it is a scam, guys. Stop putting money in. Do you see it? Once again, this being so serious. I know I'm talking serious stuff, but you have to be a little more smiley and guys. So that's the problem. We have not resolved up to this far. How many cryptocurrencies invented so far? I'm told last year it was 500,000. I'm sure it'll be a few more than 500,000. But for the discussion of it, for the sake of discussion, let's say 500,000 cryptocurrencies invented so far. I say none of them solve that problem. None of them are not. I have not seen anything that is not a scam. That's what I said, Dr. Rubini, when he said it is a scam. I'm in agreement with it. It is there, 500,000 of them. There are scams. Platforms, blockchain platform technology was promoting that. Come on. That's what we are getting. Dr. Rubini is talking with economists. He's discussing about it. Now, having said that, now we have to try to resolve this somehow. How can we improve this? Somehow we have to give incentives to the average people. Can we do that? How can we do that? We give incentives to the average people. Oh, by the way, this from this remaining problems, from this on, it is my own ideas, and it is my speculation. This past problems are done, right? They are the problems that has challenged most of them are resolved and solved and all that hardly solved. And from this on, it is more my opinions and my speculation, and this is what I'm doing in this. So now having that, we go to how can we next one. Let's go to the next one. I have to discuss a little more theoretical issues here. Uh, you know, the most of the problems, those cryptocurrencies, crypto platforms are not designed very well. Up to this part, 500,000 of them are not designed very well. The reason is that they did not know game theory, or more specifically, they did not know how to do mechanism design. Mechanism design, I don't know, someone was doing mechanism design yesterday. Right. Mechanism design, what you have to do, what it is actually saying is that, you know, if you know what mechanism design, I mean, game theory, game theory, right? Game theory in general is how, game is played by a number of players. So how to make a game right and to make the people behave and things like that. But mechanism design is reverse game theory. So what it is that to make outcome to be presented the way you want to have, how you design the game is reverse game theory. So it is you have to begin with the outcome that you want to have. So far, no cryptographers and cryptoverse people did not have understanding of mechanism design. So mechanism design is such an important feature that we have to have. To that, what is the problem here? All those platforms are designed to be self-destructive. Why? Because they did not know how to design their platform or their cryptocurrency being sustainable. You want to have sustainability done, right? Then what you have to do is that you have to do mechanism design. Your cryptocurrency is designed that way. Your mechanism design simulation done. That's how important the mechanism design part. So what happened is that, let me see. Hold on. That's Dr. Dr. Narayanan of Yale University professor. He goes and say, creating tokens without studying mechanism design is like building new cryptocurrency without reading any crypto platform papers. He made it so difficult, so serious. But one thing that you have, if I translate it in plain words, if you want to be in the cryptoverse, cryptocurrency world, what you have to study, I mean, without studying mechanism design, is like you want to be English teacher without knowing ABC. You see what I mean, right? He's actually saying you illiterate cannot teach English. He's saying without knowing mechanism design, don't do cryptocurrency design. That's how important that mechanism design is. And I agree with him. That so far, 500,000 cryptocurrencies so far designed so far, they are not sustainable because it is not designed that way. Because they are not used the mechanism design properly. Of course, Satoshi Nakamoto did not know anything about it. So that is what happened. 500,000 of them. They are all crap and scams. Let's go to the next. This one, self-sustainability. If you know mechanism design to have a cryptocurrency to be successful, let's skip this part because this one requires so much difficult part. But anyway, so mechanism design, self-sustainability, the key to the self-sustainability, or you have to remember, let's explain this a little bit more about this. You know, self-destruction that the paper was explaining, self-destruction was actually, if you translate it in simple terms, self-destruction is, you know, is the opposite word of self-sustainability. Lack of self-sustainability is self-destruction, destruction, right? So that's what I'm talking about. To have self-sustainability done, or not to be your system to be self-destructive, what you have to do is that you have to do mechanism design. That is so important. So that's what I'm saying. Now, having Gini coefficient a little bit, if you see this, Gini coefficient, Bitcoin is 0.99. Ethereum is 0.999, I'm sure. And like I said, Gini coefficient is this. You get, one person get everything. That's one. And 0.99 is one person gets almost everything. That's almost total inequality, near total inequality. That we have 500,000 coins, this design so far. They have all of them. I have not seen anything else. All of them have that much of problem, that Gini coefficient problem. Let's go to the next one. I have to go. So how we can design? How can we fix this problem? You have to sit down and think about it. Consensus mechanism is the issue. Why? Consensus mechanism is the one that actually determines the incentive of the people. How you can incentivize the people, right? So POW, when you have a miners, you see, miners, when you have miners are the ones getting incentives or Bitcoin. Or, that if you have a stake, if you show how much stake you have, your stake is the one you get the incentives, right? So that is what the consensus algorithm actually does. So consensus algorithm usually do the two things. One is synchronization of the ledgers, and second function is that you doing this wealth distribution. Current systems mostly do those things intertwined. So miners get the incentive, or somehow the ones who having authority can just give away the incentive to the right people being the only small number of people. So incentive mechanism doing that, one thing that you have to remember is that what if we separate those two from each other and begin saying, hey, this, players that for the consensus algorithms, we have two players involved. One is block producers and incentive takers. So what if we just use block producers with artificial intelligence? Then you get this part away, right? Block producers away. Now you can define incentive takers. How do you define incentive takers? Let's go to the next one. And so that let's go to the previous one. So that it's fair and equitable. So if we use artificial intelligence, what is good about it is that you don't need to give it, artificial intelligence agents the incentive. because AI agents are AI agents. You don't give incentives to them, right? So what I'm saying is that hiring artificial intelligence agents to me is inevitable. You can write a programs doing that, but why we need to have artificial intelligence agents is that you want to make these agents be totally independent from the people. Let's go to the next one. So when AI agents are employed as a block producer, no incentive to the AI people, AI agents. No liars, no liars. Artificial intelligence agents, they can lie sometime down the road, probably years after this, but not at the moment, they're not lying. Besides, we can make incentives. I mean, in artificial intelligence agents, no liars. We can make them to be no liars. Then what happened? Remember Byzantine generals problem? Actually was so complicated because there are liars and cheaters in between. Right? The problem solved. Just simplify. Most of the problems we have struggled with, they will be solved. And attacks, if you see technical attacks, outlined by Dr. Kotoa, is mostly solved. Mostly solved. Because no liars. Because no cheaters, no colluders. They don't collude each other, right? But if we human beings, we collude each other and we change the things and all those things. They change the history. But if you have agents, so disadvantages, of course, is that what if artificial intelligence agents are they have different worldviews. We are talking about artificial intelligence agents. They are all independent and being a block producer. Um, then if the block producers are having different blocks, different worldviews, that can happen. Then what is the remedy out of it? It is fork. In conventional blockchain world, it is fork. What happens if forking happens? Then it is called the conflict resolution mechanism has to be implemented. The thing is, my PhD dissertation years and decades ago was conflict resolution mechanism. I was an artificial intelligence person when I finished my PhD. Let's go to the one. So AI agent must be independent from human beings and must be evolving through learning, because we know we can we can detect most of the attacks, but attackers are all creative almost all the time, and when we have this, it'll be very difficult to predict what they are going to do down the road. So we need to have artificial intelligence agents, because when they are independent, they have to they have to be evolving and improving themselves. Let's go to the next. So speaking of artificial intelligence, my God, I'm almost done. I have to finish this. Speaking of artificial, I just begin discussing artificial intelligence. I have I think about half of the discussion. So artificial intelligence technology, there are two different technologies applied in the field of blockchain and artificial intelligence. One is blockchain technology in AI, and the other is artificial intelligence technology in blockchain. So the top part It's done most of the, many people, but bottom part is not done by many people. I think I'm the only one. I quit my professorship to do this. Excited. She was clapping my hands for me. Yeah, who care? I mean, I had to, I had choice. I had to make a choice to quit the job, professorship, or quit the, quit making a business out of this. I said, I quit the job, quit the professorship, and become a businessman. I Life is full of accidents, right? Okay, let's. It is how you can make. Why do we need artificial intelligence agents so much? Is that every piece of a component, you begin to writing equations. There are so many places that artificial intelligence is needed, and you begin writing, and you find this here, this part cannot be algorithmically done, but artificial technologies such as deep layered neural networks can be done very easily. But algorithmically, sometimes very difficult. I find there those things in 4 different places of blockchain that I am doing. So let's go to the next. What? Let's go to this discussing that one more time. What I'm doing is that I said in the consensus mechanism, we hire artificial intelligence and have become a block producer. What is going to be happen is that the incentive distribution or wealth distribution is all remaining for us to design. How can we design that? What we're trying to do is that we are going to, um, you know, distribute the wealth according to the contribution of each individual participant. Then how we can, compute each individual's, contribution part. So we wrote the equation out of it for per person. So that's for person T, contribution C for person T is like that. So we wrote it. If you sit down and think about this equation, you will find this one is not cannot be done algorithmically, but deep neural network, multi-layered deep neural network, or deep learning, you would say, that will be naturally fit here. So that's what I want. So, the same goes with money issuance. Number of issues of the currencies. Blockchain, I mean, Bitcoin, for example, is supposedly 21 million coins, period. The problem is, do you know why 21 million? No reason, right? Just, the Satoshi Nakamoto guy, he thought overnight, well, I'll make 21 million. That's it, 21 million. And he wanted to make it 21 million so that he wanted to make this currency to be deflationary. But if you know a little bit about, economics, that is not the way that you want to make your system design. You actually have to make your system inflationary. So that's what I'm saying. Economics and mechanism design has to be a part of it to make designs like this. So the number of currencies, but then again, it has to be inflationary. Okay, that Mr. Buterin knew that little bit, and he was doing all the computation to make an inflationary, then making his coins issued infinitely large number of coins. And is it fair? Is it good? Apparently, he did not know the economics either. He just thought coins has to be designed to be permanently inflationary. But what if the economy goes down? It is all economics thing. So monetary theory of economics has to be placed in. So what we do is have money computation equation here, and that is to be learned by artificial intelligence and to be solved by artificial intelligence, meaning that we do not know much about it. Anyway, but so we up to this we have discussed about economics. Now, having that all that, what we do is that what we have been thinking is that, hey, this you know current system fails because the incentive is primarily rooted to the greed of the people. People wanted to get the big money out of this, but they did not know this one can be an economic system that will benefit almost everyone in the world. That's what we are looking at. Can we design a system that we can benefit average people? After all, that's something that we began with from Satoshi Nakamoto. We forgot about it, right? So this is just psychology. What we want. Let's. But then again, what is the problem is incentive. You cannot give same incentive to everyone in the universe. There's always the case. There are not enough resources satisfying the people if it is one. Simply, there are not enough money to give the people. Then what we are getting at is that, hey, people are different. Some people, money is not the issue. Some people find satisfaction from somewhere else. Can we make diversify incentives? We are applying social psychology here. And from the social psychology, there are a theory of um, spiral dynamics, meaning that people are satisfied with different things, different desires. People have different desires. If you know who Maslow is, Maslow's theory is theory of hierarchical needs of human beings. That is 1943. That was, proposed 1943. Generally accepted. It was evolved later on. The later version is spiral dynamics. We are applying spiral dynamics and having that all those people having satisfied with different desires. So that is what spiral dynamics is. What is good for this is that we are trying to get the greed out of the cryptocurrency, and we are going to give satisfaction to the people that is suffice. There's a word for satisfaction that is suffice. Suffice. That is the word is satisfice. Satisficing. So we are going to give satisficing to the people from the incentive, but trying to get the greed out of it so that they can all satisfy in the system. That is, how can that be done? That can be done by application systems, decentralized application systems. Applications will define their own, activities and their own, the incentives, and incentives will be all different by all different applications. And we're going to give our tokens to the applications, and the applications will go away along with satisfaction. They define the way they create it. So that is what decentralization is. So that dynamics value means if you know social psychology people, you will know spiral dynamics what it means. And people have different value memes, and once again you will know what it is. Having that, we've achieved self-sustainability. Having all that included, we achieve the self-sustainability of a platform, not self-destruction. of a platform of a cryptocurrency. So that is what conclusion part. Once again, Albert Einstein was saying you cannot create the problem, you cannot solve the problem, or in the system that is create a problem. What we have to remember is that we have to design when we have to include all other disciplines in, so that you can solve the problems of self destruction, the problem of self destruction of cryptocurrency. And this, how we can do it. Artificial intelligence is the most important piece. Mechanism design is important piece, and social psychology is the important piece. I'm seeing in these days behavioral economics in this, and all these things has to be incorporated to solve the problems we are facing. Mm, So basically, what I'm trying to say is that, hey, the design we have is the system we have is mediocre. It is a mediocre. The way Dr. Rubin is saying, it is mediocre. And because of that, so it seems it is scams and bubbles. It seems it is overhyped technology. But remember that one animal pulling cart that was replaced by steam cart by Mr. Connell in 1760 eventually brought human beings to the moon. We have to remember that. And that currently, when you see the cart, steam pot pulling cart, no brakes, it is useless machine. It seems it is scam. It seems it is stupid. But what we are getting, you have to remember, it is just mediocre product, mediocre technology. It will be improved a lot better. Eventually it will bring us to the moon. That's the conclusion that I want to make. Thank you. I wanted to make this talk a lot more funny, but too serious, too serious. That's all. Okay. Any questions? Basically, how can we see some usable cryptocurrencies, in the cryptoverse? I say it is going to be pretty soon. Why? Because the amount of dollars pouring into this industry has been tremendous. It is trillions and trillions of dollars already poured in. Because of that, most of the excellent programmers, excellent, creative mind people are all, gotten here and trying to solve all those problems that I have explained. I'm not the only one, having that. But I'm not the only one realizing all the problems. But what I'm saying is that, the ones I'm working with, I'm getting at is we are creating an economy here. We are totally different economy from the past. It is not capitalism anymore. Let's be honest. Capitalism works very well, but has been working for only rich people, 1% of people. Like I said, this year in the Davos, I was in Davos, lecture, invited lecture speaker in the Davos forum, and 1,500 private jets flown into that town. You think about it. Only 1% of people afford to have private jets. They own 46%. That's for the capitalism that has been successful so far. I'm not saying that capitalism is wrong. Somehow we have to fix the problems we see in the capitalism. And government and banking system and monetary system and all have been working for that the rich people. So what we are getting here, what we are designing is that I call it Ubuntu economy. Ubuntu means in African world, I am because we are. So there is more. This there, what I was getting at. I hope you get that. At the end, Ubuntu economy is the only way that cryptocurrency self-sustainable, can be self-sustainable, and Ubuntu economy is the only way that this technology will last forever. And that I'm not the only one. I'm sure there are a bunch of people who will try to do this the same way. And I said, to directly answer to you, how fast this blockchain technology will be in for us to use. Um, Blockchain technology and cryptocurrency will be used in Tokyo Olympics next year, and that's what the Japanese government was so committed to it. So in Tokyo Olympics, Japanese government wanted to do two things: using cryptocurrencies and as well as autonomous vehicles to be used, autonomous driving taxis to be used during that time. And when Japanese government is so pushing next year and they're trying hard